Hi folks, with Tacitus Today, your pushback channel, and thank you for joining this radio audio live stream. In this essay, I'd like to talk about the continued and aggressive degradation of our legal system and how facts, evidence, the law, codified law really no longer applies. There are now parallel systems. There is the codified law that still exists, but parallel to that is ideological law or ideological interpretation of the law. And that is not codified. It is not codified anywhere in any way, yet it is applied widely and aggressively to many legal cases now, not simply cases of, say, in the divorce courts where you might expect that, but the feminist, globalist, Marxist forms of jurisprudence, oppressed type paradigm, has been spread now into all areas of law, and judges are being appointed all over the Western world that are known to have substantial sympathy with ideological law or ideological interpretation of law rather than facts and evidence. So there's a case recently, I used this, and this is a brazen and blatant example that is getting no coverage in the media, much to my concern at least. I won't mention the name of the case or where it is, but the judge in the case is a mixed race homosexual and who has quite a background. I wouldn't say a huge background, but a noticeable background in working for and acting for, in his previous life as a lawyer and everything, for social justice causes. He was appointed by a very, very globalist, fanatical globalist politician into this judgeship position, and he was given a very controversial rape case to hear, and so how he would have been picked for this, given he's such an activist and is very sympathetic again to ideological law, you have to assume it was a setup. But anyway, let me just go through in my view, the egregious examples of dispensing with codified law and facts and evidence. Now, at the centre of the case was a supposed or an alleged rape. Now, this alleged rape had no physical evidence, no DNA evidence. It got changed from rape to technical rape. That is, she might have had too much to drink, therefore technically couldn't really give consent, or if she'd given consent, it wasn't applicable. There were arguments about had she given consent, then drank a lot more, then drank alcohol, and therefore her ongoing consent wasn't legal, or and this, so it was a very technical an argument of, well, at which point did you go from 2 drinks to 2.1 drinks and things like that. So it was pretty ridiculous, and it should never have got to court or been, and it's consumed thousands of legal and man hours, millions of dollars of funds, and just legal fees alone. Just one of the parties would handsomely be well in excess of $1 million in legal fees. So it comes down to the point where the lies and untruths and just fanciful, girly, made up nonsense was really what she was coming out with, and this was shown to be so. And on balance of probability, there was no rape, and apart from the fact there was no evidence saying that there was no rape, and her evidence or her claims and assertions and statements pretty much all proved to be false, or primarily false, or the key issues were, if the key assertions were false, even down to small things like my friends coming over to support me in my hour of need, but there was no, for example, I'm paraphrasing, there was no friend and no friend came over, and there was never a communication with it, these sorts of things. So all the flowery stuff of, oh, I'm a terrible victim, and that was all bullshit and made up. So really the case against this and she was youngish, 25 or something. The case against this woman was quite damning, and why anyone would rely on a word she said is quite beyond me. Nonetheless, the judge constantly interceded to support the woman. oh, she's just young. Maybe she's confused. Why should we hold that against her? Well, okay, all right then. Well, she's young and confused, so you still throw the evidence out. But I know she's young and confused, therefore we must believe the evidence because she's so young and confused. What? Now this is an independent, impartial judge actively jumping into the proceedings in support of this young woman. Now, just in sheer interest of balance and fairness, then any questionable evidence that the man gave must also be allowed on the basis, well, maybe he was confused because he's about the same age, as the woman. So, well, why can't he? No, but he doesn't get any allowance. There's no allowances for him. No. He says that's it. He is held to the highest standards of evidentiary probity. But whereas the bar is lowered for her and then lowered again, lowered some more, and they really keep on lowering it, or the judge does, keeps on lowering the bar until any false statement she makes is just explained away. Well, she was stressed and she was worried. She's worried what her girlfriend might have thought. She's worried what her boyfriend might have thought. She was probably concerned for her job. So, those lies can be ignored. And but if she says rape, then that must be true. But every other lie she says, we can excuse or just explain away as being, youthful, youthful indiscretion and so on. So, and now I got to, you can get the transcript online now. So, and constantly this judge kept on intervening. Now, why would a judge do that? There's no codified law that requires the judge to do that. Just in the interest of a basic jurisprudence, if that allowance is extended to one party, then it must be extended to all parties or the other party. But the essential conflict here is between, or the contest rather, the legal contest, is between a straight white male and a female. Now, in the eyes of a judge that's brought through the ideological ranks and is very much caught up in the ideological, mixed race, homosexual, all that sort of stuff, then that's something that really, the ideology and the activism being brought into the courtroom brazenly and blatantly so. Now, why even pick a judge? Why put someone like that on the bench? Then why put someone into a case that is directly involved in activism of the oppressor versus the oppressed? Why doesn't he hear two gay guys suing each other? Why is he hearing this case? Given the ideological fanaticism, so clearly he's acting that well, she's the oppressed ideologically. She's the oppressed one. So we have I'm obligated, therefore, based on ideological or not codified law, to support her, to help her, to defend her, to protect her, and so on and so on. And it was acting out this crazy fantasy of in my opinion, this crazy fantasy of I have to protect the oppressed. But the oppressor party, the straight white male, he gets no such slack. He doesn't cut him any slack at all. That's it. He tells a lie, then he's a fucking liar. She tells a lie. Maybe she's confused. Oh well, maybe she's upset. Look, she's stressed. Now, given the sort of witnesses that were coming to the this court case. Constantly allowances were made for the women giving evidence. Well, we have to be concerned for her mental health, so I won't allow any more questions. But no such dispensation was made for any of the men. And again, why are we doing this? Yet the judge also talks about equality and we have to be treated equally and so on, and yet does the exact opposite. Why was he constantly interceding on behalf of the woman? Why? Nothing required him to do that. All he had to do, the judge, all he had to do was look at the evidence. That's all he had to do. But instead, on all the key and pivotal lies that, as I believe, at least, all the key and pivotal lies told by the woman were explained away, excused away, or the judge was actively attempting to say, it's not really a lie. It's just, she's just a young woman. Hey, we can't expect too much. All right, well, that's fine. Then you can't believe her claims of being raped. Then you can't say, well, every lie we can dispense with or explain away or allow to go through. But the one claim she makes about being raped, that we must believe. Just all the other lies we can ignore. No. And also the difference in standard, where if the man had uttered or did utter something that, when you looked at all the evidence, it didn't really stack up as being 100% accurate, then the argument was, well, that just shows that he's an all-round lie. If he told that one lie, then everything's a lie. So he's held to that standard, whereas if she tells 100 lies, that doesn't matter. She's just young. Yet they were both the same age. Now, at the time, she held a supposedly quite responsible job, like a consultant type role. And how she got there must have been, it wasn't, it was an affirmative action gig. You wouldn't hire her to sweep the floor, for goodness sakes. So she got an affirmative action gig and behaved as affirmative action unqualified, over-promoted people do, and irresponsible people do. I might be held accountable, responsible for something. I know what I'll do. I'll scream rape. And that's a classic sort of person that's been brought through the feminist education system. Scream rape. If anyone's going to hold you responsible for something, just scream rape. It's a get out of jail free card for everything. Everyone will back off. Everyone will dive for cover, and people will rush in and say, oh, isn't that terrible? You poor little victim, and so on. And it's also the girls who go to university and decide to drop out. Can't be bothered, can't hack it after they've spent quite a bit of dad's money. That's one of the first things they do. Dad says, well, I spent all this money. What are you doing? You do. Oh no, Daddy, I had to leave because I was raped. Oh, poor little baby. And then again, it's a get out of jail free card. And we live in a society now that has a very low bar for these sorts of things, and the bar is going even lower as far as I can tell. Because of ideological law. And it's something that concerns me very deeply, and it's all over the Western world now. And this court case where, again, the transcripts are available for everyone to see. I have not seen not one person come up, whether it be in the media or anywhere else, to point out that we're in a bad place if this sort of thing is happening, and judges are doing these sorts of things. And if a judge wants to apply ideological law, and instead of factual and evidence-based law, that's fine. Then have a special ideological court where they can, to their heart's content, they can go, but where there's no penalties, where you can't send anyone to prison or convict anyone. These people can just act out their ideological fantasies and then have real courts, independent judges and impartial judges, where the law and facts and evidence tested in a court applies. You've been with Tacitus today, your Pushback channel, and thank you for listening.